This session and the rest of today, really all of it, is for all of us. No matter what kind of church you come from, no matter what size your church, we are going to seek to serve together better. And we're going to learn from each other, not just from me or Melissa. We're going to learn from one another today. And some of this will be serious and sobering, and I promise you that some of today will also be lighthearted and hopeful and maybe even some fun.
I am so sorry. I'm late. Gosh, I'm really late.
Oh my goodness. Sort of, yeah.
Hey, good to meet you. Good to meet you.
Nice outfit.
Oh, this is what we wear at my church now. Those of us on staff. These are our new uniforms.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got all this figured out.
You do?
Yeah, I got this.
You want to talk about it? Okay,
yeah, I mean,
ahead.
if you don't want to spend your whole day here, I can just tell you where to pick one of these bad boys up. Amazon. And they will prevent any future problems in this arena. They are 100% stumble-proof. Bear in mind, there are a few additional related expenses. We had to invest in new desks and new chairs. And if it's decided we need to wear these to the weekend services, we'll need to get some new pews as well. But the elders have just started their discernment on that. So it won't come to a vote for 9 years. We can start saving. I should also mention, going to the bathroom in these, a little bit tricky. It's actually a two-person job, which sort of defeats the purpose, but we have interns. So we haven't tried baptisms in these yet. No one's quite sure how that's gonna go, but we hope these puppies hold up. But for the most part, things have really improved. And not only is contact physically impossible, but they have a little fan inside, so when we're all in a room together, it's a pretty substantial buzz, and we don't even really have to hear each other. We just sort of smile and laugh. We planned Easter in like half an hour. Now, everyone knows the first idea is the best idea anyway, right? I think that's how we ended up with these. Gosh, don't they look good? Fiona over in the global ministry, she wanted to trade colors. Hers is just like mine, but purple. But I liked my color, so her only other option was Sally over in operations. But Sally thought her black was somewhat slimming. So Fiona got stuck with purple because there were no other women to trade with. Oh, I don't know if I made that clear. You only need these for the women on staff. Yeah, I mean, we're all on a budget. And I think the leadership felt like we were the ones complaining. So here we are. It's a little tight around the neck. Not that anyone's asked. Praying is tricky in these. You can't actually get down on your knees. Also, I work in kids ministry. I mean, kids already see you and pounce. Now I'm like a walking moon bounce. We don't fit well in restaurants, cabins, or cars, so it's been decided when our team goes out, we just aren't invited. Fiona's leaving. She told me yesterday. We share an office off-site, off the beaten path. You take the beaten path, like you're going to go in the main building, and then you hang a hard right down a skinny path, and then you take a rowboat across a swamp, across campus, to our office off-site, where she told me offhand that she's leaving. I wasn't shocked. She's been taking interviews for weeks. For what I can tell, she had her pick, and of course. So now she's not picking our church anymore. The thing is, I really need Fiona to stay. So I said, Fiona, you can't leave. The ministry will be in bad shape. She said, Elizabeth, I look like a grape. I said, well, you can have mine. We can switch. She said, you look like a really big zit. I said, at least things are not the way that they were. Don't you remember the way that things were before anything changed? Remember? She said, of course I remember. Things needed to change, and dramatically. There could be no overreaction, actually. The scale is not the problem. The solution is the problem. Us paying is the problem. She said, and even so, even if I wasn't wearing a pillow, why don't they pick me more often? She said, I'm being picked over, and they won't tell me why. I've picked up the slack, I picked up speed, picked up steam, I picked my battles, and when I had a bone to pick, and that bone was my not getting picked, they didn't even see that that bone had been fractured. Made me feel like the problem I picked had been manufactured. They didn't pick up what I was laying down, and now they want me to pick up where I left off in our office off-site. I said, well, I like sharing an office, and I said it real hopeful. She said, why do we share an office when you do kids ministry and I do global? She said, I'm done picking myself up. I said, I'll pick you up. She said, no, you can't. And in our suits that can't seduce, when we're all zippered up, she's right. I can't really pick her up. I said, this stuff we're fighting as women, it'll be the same someplace else. She said, it's worse in the church. She said, church should have gone first, should have moved on this before there was a movement instead of handing me this and calling that an improvement. She said, this company where I'm going to be, they won't tolerate this. They're not so obsessed with transformation and forgiveness that a reckoning for what's wrecked would be bad for business. She said, I'll be selling software, so that's, whatever. But they really want me. And then she said these words I can't get out of my head. She looked around our off-site office and said, do you really feel like they want you here? And I did that thing you do when a question makes you feel horrible. Instead of answering, you just decide it's rhetorical. I said, And we tried to hug, which we couldn't. These suits are not only stumble-proof, they prevent teamwork, camaraderie, and rapport, too. They're impervious to vulnerability, synergy, unity. They're connection-resistant, encouragement-repellent. If someone's insides are crumbling, you really can't tell it. If you wear one, no one can say that you fell. But they're tear-proof, fear-proof, and somewhat love-proof as well. I needed to talk to my friend Rob. He's also in kids. Rob wants me here. At least, I know Rob did, and that was really what I needed to hear. Rob and I used to finish each other's sentences. It was the kind of thing, I don't know if you felt this, where your brain matches perfectly with someone else's. Like, Rob would come up with these amazing ideas that were completely impossible, and I would figure out a way to make them actually logical. At least, back when I wore jeans to work, the old days. Now we sort of go about our work in separate ways. Still, I needed to see my friend Rob face to face. Easier said than done. I filed my 54-page application explaining my purpose and my motivation, detailing the exact nature of the conversation I was hoping to have with a staff member of the opposite sex. And eventually, I appeared before a committee, and I was granted a meeting with Rob. We arrive at the mixed gender conference room. A glass wall divides the room in two hemispheres. Around the top, there's an audience of 12 volunteers. It's a new ministry. They thought it'd be wise to just always have some extra sets of eyes. So we've got walls, suits, an office off-site, an audience of 12. We've transformed everything outside of ourselves. And I remind myself, this is better. Because it is. This is better than being unsafe. Most things are. It's a pretty low bar, but they've met it, so. Isn't better enough? Isn't it my turn to buckle up and say yes to this version of better that they have made? Out of a whole lot of Band-Aids, but at least no one need look at the open wound. At least work can resume, more damage might ensue, but we can outrun the long run because it's always almost Sunday, and there's work to be done. Rob and I can't speak through the glass wall. Instead, there's a table with a pile of approved words. Rob has one too. At first, we had all the words you'd need, except words that only exist to degrade or demean. But over time, the pile of options has grown smaller and smaller as they've taken out words that could possibly breed anything intimate. What we're left with are a pile of words that breed distance. I hold up the word hi, and Rob does the same. I hold up woman and leaving, and I can't hear him, but I watch Rob sigh as he holds up an index card that says, why? They didn't give me trapped. I don't see drowning or drowned. Discounted and dismissed are nowhere to be found. They didn't give me hurt, hypocrisy, or unsafe. Toxic would be accurate, but they won't let me say it. Oppressed isn't here, neither is exploited. They didn't give me devastated or even disappointed. Aha! We're okay with suffering, so that's what I pick. It's big in the Bible. Maybe that'll do the trick. I see Rob nod. I see that he knows. And then I see Rob start shaking, covering his mouth and his nose. My friend Rob is laughing deliriously. I hold up the word what, and he holds up, sorry, can't take you seriously. It probably is hard talking to a balloon matter-of-factly, but this time I'm pleased to find the word I need. Exactly. We continue, and Rob listens well and hard, as well as you can listen to words on index cards. And as our time is wrapping up, it became clear I needed to clarify that it was Fiona who was leaving and not I. Names are personal and therefore not at our disposal. So I hold up the words, it's the woman from Global. Rob shakes his head, and then he holds up, are you? And before he can ask if I'm gonna pull through, before he can ask me, are you leaving too, I scramble to find the 3 words I wanna combine. Somehow. Because Fiona isn't. Because it will be Sunday, someday, soon. Because this is really tight around my neck, and I don't think it's a good use of our budget. Because I loved working with you, Rob. Because I don't like working around you, Rob. Because I feel like we're all getting robbed. Because the stakes are too high and the bar is too low. And for better or worse, I still love the idea of the local church. The blueprints are breathtaking. Oh, I was built to help build it. So, Rob, we're going to need to find wherever they hid the rest of the words, because we're going to need all of them to begin.
Well, I hope you will long remember that image, and particularly those 3 words, I'm still here.